Hey, how's everyone doing? I'll be with you shortly. If you can, just let me know how the audio is coming in, if it's loud enough for you. Thank you for joining me on this Sunday night or Monday morning, wherever you might be. And again, I'll be with you folks fairly shortly. Thanks. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Silver Bullion Television, SBTV. This is our weekly live stream. Glad you could be here. Appreciate you spending the time with us. Just want to say hello. A quick roll call out there to some of you that made it here. Chris Primer, how you doing? Pabar, Kanacking Dispensaries. All right, haven't seen you here before. Welcome aboard. Again, as always, if you are new, go ahead and type in new and where you're from, and we'll try and go ahead and acknowledge you. So again, thank you for being here, Mr. Nguyen. How you doing? Again, Chris Primer, James Richter. How you doing? Thanks for making it again. Appreciate you being here, Patrick Bateman. Hello again. Good seeing you. Aces up, Silver. First time I've seen your name. Also, welcome aboard. Michael Sayer, how you doing? See you on Twitter every now and then. How you doing, buddy? Bobby Jones, Jay Delaney, Fat Vegan, Pablo Pina. Let's see who else. DC Precise, Jack P, Big Kenny Boy. Yeah, first time I've seen you guys here. So again, welcome aboard. And as always, if you are new here or if you haven't already done so, please do go ahead and subscribe. Hit that bell to be notified of new updates and give us a thumbs up. We really do appreciate the thumbs up, and they really do help us out quite a bit, more than you would imagine. And you can always find us on social media. Silverbullion.com.sg is our website, where yes, we do sell silver and gold, but more than that, more than selling precious metals, we do specialize in wealth protection, systemic wealth protection. And as I say each week, a lot of you guys, you already know what's going on, and you can pretty much see what's coming down the road ahead. And we need options. We definitely do need options. Some options we understand and we like, and some options we may not quite yet understand. For that reason, just go ahead and send us an email at sales@silverbullion.com.sg, or go ahead and give us a call as well. And we'll walk through it with you. Silver Bullion SG is our Facebook handle. Silver Bullion PL is where you can find us on Twitter, PL for private limited. Audio versions, bit.ly/SBTV iTunes or/SBTV Spotify. Again, this is just for the audio version. And Crisis Tracker, if you do have that Telegram app, go ahead and search Crisis Tracker, one word, Crisis Tracker, and you'll find us there. And this is where we go ahead and we will post pretty much every day 2 or 3 articles as it pertains to economy, finance, gold, silver, things like that. And I tell you, there's a lot of information out there. And so what we try to do is just bring up the ones that may be the most relevant to our little family here of gold and silver people. And there are some Bitcoin people as well. So again, do join that Crisis Tracker group. Again, hello to everyone. Appreciate you being here. Bill Wood, Tampa. All right, first time I've seen you here as well. Tampa, good one. John Betts. Let's see, New Jersey. I guess that's Petersburg, New Jersey. I'm hoping. Okay. How you doing, John? Carrie Ellen Welder, how you doing? Let's see who else is out there. Um, okay, Kanaking dispensaries. Yeah, and anytime. I mean, we this is our way to try and stay in touch with you guys and trying to interact with you guys out there and just shoot ideas back and forth, um, theories back and forth, and we just try and get through this together. As I say, we're all in the same boat together, right? And we'll get through it. We will get through it. Again, so glad you folks are all here. The Mick, how you doing? How you okay, yeah, appreciate that. Gary D, how you doing? Penny Pinch and Prepper, Manuel De Jesus, uh, Narong some shit. How you doing? Um, Thailand, I suppose. How you doing? Uh, Okay, Nomad River Capitalists. Hello from the Silver States. I guess you're joining us from Nevada. Nice for you to join in. Okay, so a lot of new people here. Jay Delaney, new from Ohio. How are you doing? And Top Shelf Spring Water, Jamaica. Okay, how you doing? All the way from Jamaica. Appreciate that. So again, please do subscribe. And our upcoming guest, I think he's going to be a good one. Our upcoming guest is going to be Nick Giambruno. Nick is the chief analyst at Casey Research, including its flagship advisory, the Casey Report. And he is a contrarian speculator and financial and geopolitical commentator. And so he does know a lot. He's in all areas, and he has a special focus on value and crisis investing. Nick specializes in unearthing undervalued markets around the globe. And we're going to ask him, where are the undervalued markets? So again, please do subscribe so we can so you'll be notified when that video or that interview is posted. And for a lot of you guys, you folks have been doing pretty well on this ebook giveaway, so we're going to continue it. Last week we had a little bit of an issue with the Rothbard book. For some reason, when we went to go and send those books out, Kindle had, I don't know what they did. They said this book was for review, so we couldn't send it out. And for last week's winners, we had to give you a substitute. So that was the reason for that. So this week, because we're having Nick Giambruno, we're going to be giving away Doug Casey's book, Speculator. Interesting book here. Dr. Ron Paul even says a thrilling tale of international intrigue. Meet Charles Knight at age 23, a hero for the modern age and for all time. The greatest gold discovery in history draws Charles Knight to West Africa, where he unearths deception, violence, and romance. Sander Wynn, a Dutchman on his own mission, mentors Charles on his voyage into the world of speculation and African politics. But a psychopathic rebel leader and purveyors of a $6 billion fraud, a team of mercenaries bent on early retirement, and the U.S. government all get in his way. Now, everyone wants him dead, but Charles he plans to strike it rich. Interesting book. If you want to win it, some rules to the game to go ahead and get this ebook. Download the Kindle app from your tablets or your phone's app store. It is a free app to download. And be the first five. Be the first five to correctly answer the upcoming question, which came from the Rick Rule interview last week. Be one of the first five to answer it before the timer runs out. You have about a minute and 30 seconds. And U.S. winners, I'll give you a link to download that ebook. If you're outside the U.S., we're going to have to arrange for some sort of alternate prize because Kindle ebooks cannot be gifted outside the U.S. And you're going to have to provide us your email during this live stream. And what will happen is my colleague Vincent, he's standing by and he will go ahead and mute your comments so that way you can go ahead and send your email and only we will see it because your comment will be muted. So that way we can go ahead and get your email and then we can go ahead and send out the books to you. So having said all of that, the question comes from last week's Rick Rule interview. Okay, here we go. This might be a fast one. Question, Seymour Rivers, yes, you want this book. You've got a lot of them. Why not get this one as well? The question, the transferability of units that can be redeemed for precious metals means that precious or physical precious metals can be efficient forms of blank. This is according to last week's Rick Rule interview. The transferability of units that can be redeemed for precious metals means that physical precious metals can be efficient forms of blank. Okay, so there you go. Go ahead and give it your best shot. The answer is one word. It's a one-word answer. Okay, so we got answers coming in now. Chris Primer is saying money. Mr. Nguyen is saying money. Michael Sayer, my buddy on Twitter, he is saying money. Mitch Alex is saying reserves. Hidden numismatist, money. James Richter, currency. Trev R, money. Okay, let's see what else is out there. I think you guys watched this this interview. Appreciate it. Seymour Rivers payment. Okay, I'm going to end the suspense here. We already have five winners. In fact, I went and made it six winners. So what we're going to do is we're going to revisit that interview with Rick Rule, and we're going to see just what he said. The winners: James Richter, currency, close enough to money. Okay, James Richter. Trev R, money. Mr. Nguyen, money. Michael Sayer, or Sayer, hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Money. Chris Primer, money. And then we have Hidden Numismatist, who also said money. So the winners: James Richter, Trev R, Mr. Nguyen, Michael Sayer, Chris Primer, and then we have Hidden Numismatist. So let's go ahead and replay that clip from Rick Rule just to verify the correct word was money.
The very transferability of units that can be redeemed for physical precious metals means that physical precious metals can again be efficient forms of money. A real money to me is a broadly accepted medium of exchange that's simultaneously a store of value. And it isn't a store of value where the store of value is real but ephemeral, like the size of the network. Rather, the store of value is physical gold and silver. If you can exchange physical gold and silver with a tap of a card or a wink of a phone, but it's a real store of value, it means that you could buy gold and silver to buy a cup of coffee or to buy a house. You could borrow against it. You could loan against it. In other words, gold and silver become legally and functionally what they have been for millennia, which is to say money.
There you go. The answer is not just money, but money, as Rick Rule go ahead, as he went ahead and put it. So, and it's things like true gold-backed tokens, let's say, silver-backed tokens that bring physical gold when married to technology in the right way that can bring the physical metals into the 21st century in a way that allows us to use it or have it as sound money transferable anywhere in the world. And that's a great point by Rick Rule. And it's something, again, as we say, there needs to be that bridge between a true, purely cryptocurrency and a physical form of gold or silver. And there are things out there. There are things out there. And I'm just going to sneak one in. You can take a look at cash.gold, cache.gold. That's a good one. I do have a micro share in it, so I need to throw out this disclaimer. But anyway, I had to do that. Sorry about that. So Rick Rule, another clip from the Rick Rule interview.
Think of crypto and gold and silver each as being as relevant to the total pool of savings and investment capital in the world as a pimple is to an elephant's behind. They're both tiny, tiny, tiny asset classes. It's interesting to note that for me, part of the attraction, probably with crypto, but also with gold and silver, has to do with the fact that they are such small asset classes. If you look at precious metals, currently precious metals in the US market comprise less than 0.5% of savings and investment products in the United States. The 3-decade mean is alleged to be between 1.5% and 2%. So gold doesn't need to win the fight against dollar-denominated conventional savings products. It just needs to lose the fight less badly. It just needs to regain its 3-decade mean, which I think it's going to do.
Okay, so Rick Rule saying gold and silver, even crypto, are a very small elephant but pimple in the world of asset classes. I like how he uses these words in the same sentence: a butt pimple and an asset class. All right, Rick, there you go. Now, what happens when people wake up through inflation or some other event that brings in a rush to precious metals? I mean, I think we're going to see this, right? I mean, guys are kind of waiting in the extremes or on the wings, and they know about gold, they know about silver, they're hearing about it. Wall Street Silver doing a great job with it, but will it be there for them? I mean, I know a lot of guys are waiting, saying, they expect gold and silver to come down a bit, and then they'll go ahead and get it, but they're not necessarily looking at the supply side. Will it be there for them to get it? Because we do see quite a bit of back orders where um, shipments that are going to come in, a lot of them are already spoken for. So, again, I mean, I'm just saying, if it were me, and I'm not trying to push anything here, if it were me, I would just go ahead and get it when I can get it. 5 years from now, 3 years, 5 years from now, you're not really going to, pay attention too much to whatever that price was that you bought it at. I think you're just going to be happy that you have it. So, again, something to keep in mind. We're all different. We're all different, but something to keep in mind. Another clip from Rick Rule.
The fact that there's who knows what the number is, $500 billion in unrealized profits in cryptos in the United States. As those profits get realized, if they get realized, the state would like to steal the excess. That's what states do. So that makes absolute sense. I think, too, that there's an increasing central pushback against crypto because crypto, like gold and silver, represents a lack of confidence in the system. If you're Janet Yellen and a whole bunch of your subjects are buying crypto, one of the reasons that they're buying it is because they have no faith and no trust in you. And that's personally insulting to the people, the big thinkers of the world, who, in my humble opinion, deserve to be insulted.
All right. And as I told Rick in that interview, nobody insults me, so I must not be one of those big thinkers. Fine by me. So the thing is, there are bills before legislators all over the world dealing with regulation or taxing cryptos. And at the same time, we hear central banks pumping up how cryptos they're used for illegal purchases, even money laundering. And the thing is, are cryptos an asset to be regulated, or money, or a currency that can replace perhaps central bank fiat or something else? What do you folks think? What do you folks think? So I'll go ahead and take a look at a few of the comments here. Um, Let me see here. Penny pinching prepper. Patrick is pretty funny. Stick around for a little bit. You're going to see something that you might find pretty humorous. Stick around. Let's see what else is out here. And the Jesus, yes. If I get a few drinks in here, yeah, definitely. If I had a few drinks, it might be the last time you folks would see me doing a live stream. So okay. Good comments here. Um, Again, unrealized. Yeah. How can Let me see. Yeah, Rick Rule goes first. He should go ahead and get the price. Excuse me. I can't stand the government being these from the beginning, and that's kind of something we're going to see with Japan and their short history of money, gold, silver, copper, things like that, and you're going to see the interesting twists and turns that went on with it, for sure. So anyway, I do hope you enjoyed that interview with Rick Rule, and I look forward to putting out Nick Gianbruno later on this week, and you folks having a chance to see what Nick has to say as well. So let's move forward, and we'll go ahead and take a look at our website, silverbullion.com.sg, see what's going on with silver and gold. Yes, this is correct. A 15,000 ton capacity silver vault. This thing is amazing. Amazing. And yes, cryptocurrency, you can use Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and Cash Gold token to go ahead and purchase your metals from us to pay for your storage, whatever it might be. Currency. Now, this is where you're going to find it. In fact, when you scroll down, this is where you will find the cryptocurrencies: Cash Gold token, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and Litecoins. If you were trying to use your crypto and you didn't know where to find it, it's in here. Currency, and you would go ahead and select your currency, and then prices would change to reflect that cryptocurrency. US dollars, silver, 27.83. It was nicely above 28 last week, and then it got sort of monkey hammered again, back down, but pretty resilient. It's trying to push back to that 28 level again. Gold, 1889. And we had a few guests who said 1850 was a critical uh, price level for gold, and it is holding above that 1850 level, so that's good as well. Nickel was above 18,000 last week. It's come down a bit, but it is look like it's pushing back up as well. Nickel, one of the main or key ingredients as far as electric vehicle batteries, and we do know we're hearing more and more about electric vehicles, how they're going to come into the fold, and nickel is a metal that is key for their batteries. So we are seeing a lot of guys who are buying physical nickel and storing it with us here at Silver Bullion. So if you're interested in that, again, go ahead and email us, sales at silverbullion.com.sg. Investor Kit, this is free. You can either click on it and stay on the web and take a look at it, or you can download it. It is free. Star storage account, this is also free. There are no maintenance fees. And again, we talk about options all the time. So this is an option that you want to have ready to go for you if that time comes where you might want to exercise that option. And then we have P2P loan rates, P2P, peer to peer. Pretty much when you store with us, you can use your gold and silver as collateral, and you can go ahead and take out a loan against it. You create the terms. If you want it for 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, your loan time frame, you can go ahead and create it on your own, and you can go ahead and also say what you would like to give as interest. And then lending, if you have extra cash laying around. I don't know how else to put it. You don't need to store gold and silver with us. You can just go ahead, create an account, and fill that account with your lending offer, and then you can accept whatever terms that you see, or you can create your own terms. Maybe you'd like to lend 1 month in euro at 2.75%, whereas on this side, somebody wants to take out a loan and he's willing to give 4.25% for 1 year. This is interesting. It is something, one of the benefits that we do have in our Star Storage account. Let me see here. Silver to gold ratio 67.9, meaning roughly 68. It takes 68 ounces of silver to equal 1 ounce of gold as far as price wise. And featured products, Maple Leaf coins always popular. 100-ounce bars are always popular as well. But the big news people always talk about are 1,000-ounce LBMA bars. Some people say there's a shortage, other people say there is not a shortage. But it is interesting to get perspectives from both East and West. From the shop, you can go ahead and get 2 bars. And in our vault, you can go ahead and purchase and own. Let me make this clear. You own this bar. It's yours, and we have 221. You own it, and we just go ahead and store it for you, but it is yours. But to do this, you are going to have to sign up as a Silver Bullion user. Okay, so don't forget that you are going to have to sign up. And what will happen is you'll see these different accounts here: personal, joint, trust, joint account with a minor, business account for those of you who have businesses, and retirement. Maybe you're looking at getting a precious metals 401k. So depending on your need, precious metals 401k, business account, maybe you have a child you'd like to have an account with, a trust account, a joint account, or even a personal account. So there are different choices. Hopefully they will fit what you need. Chances are they will. And in the case of a personal account, very basic information. You would just need to fill out the application and show us a form of ID. Usually people will show us passports, just your title, your country, preferred currency, because we do take different currencies. And most importantly, your references. Don't forget to put YouTube, SBTV. That helps us out a lot. And I would suggest that you click this or tick this as well. I want to receive customer notifications via encrypted, secure notification. That simply means that when you contact us or we contact you, I should say when we contact you, you'll just get an email saying that you have a message from Silver Bullion. And that way, Google can't see it. Yahoo can't see it. Hotmail, none of those guys can see it unless you will then come to our website, and that is strictly between you and us. So this is a good thing to have, and I highly recommend it. Looking at Twitter, see what's going on in the Twitter sphere. Some things that I bookmarked from Gold Telegraph. It is very clear that the East is now exporting digital onto the West while they import all the physical gold. Okay, keep this in mind. Something we got to understand here. So after 2008, China exported deflation to the world. In 2009, China called for a new reserve currency. Everything is falling into place. Few understand this. And the thing is, even though he did mention, China, I would have to expand on that and say pretty much it's the world. I mean, we keep talking about this where the world wants off of the US dollar. The US has weaponized the dollar. It's printing that currency into oblivion. And it's a lot of countries right now that are looking to get off that US dollar. Uh, Auntie Janet, we're lucky that she's looking out for us. And she's saying higher interest rates would be good for the country. Okay, let's take a quick look at this. Higher interest rates would be good for the country, Treasury Secretary Yellen says. The former Fed Reserve Chair said the president's plans would total about 400 billion each year. Each year. A level of spending, she argued, was not enough to create an inflation overrun. Now, if we ended up with a slightly higher interest rate environment, it would actually be a plus for society's point of view and the Fed's point of view. Auntie Janet, I'm not so sure. Not so sure about that. Anyway, there's really not much more said. This article did come from Bloomberg, and it's there's that paywall in Bloomberg, so we won't be able to go ahead and see it. Moving down, is this really news? I mean, higher fuel prices. Let's see what this has to say here. This is this article here, so I'll just go ahead and play this clip real quick for you.
Sort of predicting that the stock market treads water. Well, what do you mean by that, and why?
Well, so we're up 93% from the bottom of the market last March.
Right.
So recognize that we've had a phenomenal recovery. Our target for this year for the S&P 500 is 4,500. We're already at 4,200. So we're getting, we're within 5 to 10% of our peak. We think the market's going to keep rallying into, say, the late July, early August timeframe. GDP growth in the second quarter, we think, is going to be very strong, 9.2%. And as strong as corporate earnings were in the first quarter, up about 48%, we think earnings in the second quarter are going to be up about 60 or 70%.
Sure.
So the numbers right in front of us are terrific. But as we get into that late summer, early fall period, you're going to have, we think inflation levels are going to keep rising. That's going to raise some questions about, is the Fed going to make a policy adjustment at an FOMC meeting or perhaps at Jackson Hole? What are we looking at in terms of President Biden's fiscal policy changes with regard to individual and corporate tax rates? And all of those issues are going to sort of come together and sort of maybe serve as a wake-up call to the market in sort of this late July, early August timeframe. So I'm still constructive right here. We could hit a little air pocket late summer, early fall. And I think we put that behind us and we end the year on a high note.
Okay, so is is inflation good for us or not? Um, I I don't know why these guys even ask that question. Really, I mean, who wants to pay higher prices, right? So moving on, this is a nice graphic here from James Anderson. You can just kind of see that dollar burning up over time since its inception back in 1913 all the way down. It's, I believe, what, 3% or so has the same purchasing power. I mean, it's lost 97% or so of its value. So that's a good graphic there. Um, in continuation of that tweet, today in 74, Montreal's paper money was released. It's very interesting that this is the anniversary of paper money, which was my first protest song about the Federal Reserve note and the lack of gold and silver in Fort Knox to back it up. So I wanted to take a look at this, but that's YouTube for you. Censorship, I tell you, it's a thing, and it's not gonna ease up. It's if anything, it's gonna get worse. Okay, so moving on, Silverbug, he's going to plead mentally ill in court a few months from now. He sure is, but doesn't know it yet. This is Max Kaiser, so we'll go ahead and play a clip from this. I think they had their Bitcoin type of a Bitcoin conference or something like that. So here we go with Max Kaiser.
Let me explain something to you right now. Okay, here's a $10 bill. This is garbage. This is garbage. Your people in South Africa, you have your rand, right? That's going to zero. That's going to zero. This is going to zero too. Euros are going to zero. The yen's going to zero. The Chinese currency is going to zero. It's all going to zero against Bitcoin. If you don't understand that yet, you're going to be impoverished. You're going to be on the street. You're going to be begging. You're going to be out of business. You're going to be toast.
Max, do you know that it's a criminal offense to tear up?
Do you know that with the Bitcoin I have, I can buy any freaking senator or congressman I want? I make the laws. He who has the Bitcoin makes the laws, Rand. We're not going to just sit around and let the goddamn congressman tell us what to do. We've got the capital. We make the laws. We've got the Bitcoin. They don't. We got it. They don't. Do you understand?
I got you, Max. I got you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay, so they have the Bitcoin, and so they have the politicians or something along those lines. Pretty interesting what Max Kaiser had to say. Where this world is going, I think we all know already, but we got to do our best to navigate through it and find the most positive things that we can. Daniel DiMartino Booth commenting on Miss Yellen. We've been fighting inflation and interest rates that are too low for a decade. We want them to go back to a normal interest rate environment. And if stimulus on steroids helps alleviate things, then that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. So DiMartino Booth commenting on Janet Yellen there. Jesse Felder, the Fed has now outpaced foreigners in terms of market share in the U.S. Treasury market, which could clearly be seen as a negative for the U.S. dollar reserve status. And this is a little important cross here. So good work from Jesse Felder. And last week, as you know, we had a cyber attack on Meatpacker JBS. And this is something just wanted to bring up because we had that pipeline that got hacked. We had now this meat packer being hacked, and you gotta kind of wonder, what's going on right now. Why are these places getting hacked? And you have Congress people who are warning that it's just a matter of time before more important infrastructure type elements may also get hacked as well. So you gotta kind of wonder about this, and I'm going to say narrative that's being pushed. Jay Powell, he likes his inflation, and okay, I guess we can end it there. We can end it there. So that was Twitter. And we're going to move on to the topic of the day. I just want to take a look at the comments here real quick. Stay in touch with you folks. Let's see here. Yeah, I understand you folks switched some of the books around. So cool. Nice. It's nice of you. Let's see. What are the comments out here? Yeah, Mr. Nguyen, you're correct. It's good to have skill sets as well. Fix cars, electrician, plumbing, those types of things. Having gold and silver doesn't hurt as well. Food, of course, all these things. And I do think you're going to have some type of crypto, even gold-backed tokens as well. So, I guess if you're looking forward to having getting through what's coming up ahead, it's good to have these other options that you may know how to do, or that you may know some people that can do it as well. So okay, I understand where you're coming from. Good point. Let me see. Let's see. Carrie Ellen Wilder, minimum wage in 65 was 125. Same 5 silver quarters today are worth the equivalent of at least $25. Forget those wanting $15 an hour. Demand 125 in silver. Carrie Ellen, I absolutely agree. I mean, I brought this up as well, where if you take, 5, at that time it was 6 quarters, but if you take just 5 quarters, they weigh a little bit over. I think it was actually 6 quarters that weigh a little bit over 1 ounce of silver. And if you calculate the thing out, it was well over that $15 minimum wage. So you're correct there. I mean, people want $15 in fiat minimum wage, but the truth is, had they kept the silver in the coinage, you'd be getting a lot more than $15 an hour. You would just need $1.25 or $1.50 to clear that $15 minimum wage. So, this is how far we've moved away from understanding what money is and the value of what silver and gold are and what they do. We've moved so far off of it. So again, I just want to take a look at a few of the comments here, and then we're going to move on. We're going to move on to our main topic. Yes, I said crypto. I think you should have some. I mean, you don't know what the future is going to bring, right? So we'll move to our main topic, Japan's crystal ball. Actually, the way it has gone through money in its history. Last week we took a look at gold in Vietnam and how these two affect each and every one of us today. And this week I came across some pretty interesting things about another Asian country whose past may very well tell our future. That country is Japan. And yes, it does involve gold, silver, debasing of money, and even a major virus. Even a major virus. In fact, since we're talking about Japan, I did spend some time there and immersed myself in the culture. And, if I did immerse myself in the culture, in fact, let me show you how much I immersed myself in that culture. You folks think I was crazy? Well, wait till you see this.
Big. Locked up. Charles Pivot gets into the edge and wins by you. And Hakuho still leads.
Yeah, I wonder who that guy is. Kind of looks familiar there. Well, okay. Yeah, I couldn't resist. Couldn't resist that. But without going too much into pretending to be some sort of Japanese historian, I'll do what is commonly done in retracing historical things, and that is to follow the money. So let's have a yen for history and follow the money and see where yesterday becomes today and even becomes the futures with an S. Yes, I said futures. All right, so let's move on. Here we go. So let's take a brief look at money in Japan. Let me go ahead and make this a little bit bigger so we all can go ahead and see it. Okay, Japanese money, mon. Back in the day, the official Japanese currency was the mon, and these bronze and copper beauties would have made an accountant's heart wither in his chest. Towards the end of the Muromachi period, the mon caused chaos in each Japanese domain, minted their own mon coins with whatever denomination suited them best, which meant that the amount of currency rolling around the Japanese economy fluctuated and prices went mad and currency value crumbled. And it's interesting because it reminds me sort of cryptocurrency, where you have all these different cryptocurrencies all valued differently. And it just kind of looks like what went on back then. So it took a political 180 to stabilize things. Shortly after the Meiji Restoration back in 1871, a new currency act brought in the yen, and it defined it as 1.5 grams of gold or 24.26 grams of silver. Now, silver was more popular with Japan's neighbors. Most of the coins in use around China and Hong Kong were silver, and many of them, through a feat of 19th century globalization, were Spanish silver dollars, pieces of eight perhaps imported into the region via the Philippines from Acapulco on Mexico's Pacific coast. Now, the first native Asian silver coin was the Hong Kong silver dollar, introduced in 1866. But it turned out that most traders still preferred the Spanish coins, so Hong Kong sold its minting machinery to Japan. Interesting twist there. And Japan was just getting started, The 1872 National Bank Act, which kicked off a proliferation of banks which issued identical convertible notes that crowded government notes out of the market. Okay? It crowded government notes out of the market. All right. An amendment to the act in 1876 banned converting the notes to equivalent amounts of precious metals. And in 1882, the newly established BOJ, or Bank of Japan, was monopoly, given the monopoly of controlling the money supply. Okay, so they were given the monopoly of controlling the money supply. Okay, so moving forward with knowing that in 674 AD, the first silver was produced from Tsushima Island between Kyushu Island and the Korean Peninsula, which is on the route connecting Korea and Japan. And the discovery depended on new smelter technology from China and Korea to extract silver from galena. Later, a Japanese emperor interested in spreading Buddhism directed efforts to find gold, copper, and mercury. The mining specialists from China and Korea worked on the project to find these minerals. Okay, bear with me. Now, during the 17th century, fast forward, a third of the world's silver was produced in the small town of Omori in Shimane Prefecture. In fact, the town was home to the largest silver mine in Japan's long history, Iwami Ginzan, which closed down in the 1920s. Now, this is interesting when, mainly because when you take a look at it, because Japan had the means to go ahead and create their own money. They had a lot of silver. And so Japan did have the raw resources to create its own money, and the rest of the world did, that being silver and gold. Yet it went through some very interesting things in its monetary history. So, with that backdrop again, where Japan actually did have the raw resources to make its own silver and gold or make silver and gold money, you got to wonder why didn't it, or why so many twists and turns, which we'll see. So in ancient times, around 1500 BC, commodities like rice, clothes, and salt, remember salt from last week, played a role of money. Rice, clothes, and even salt. And the word salary, as we remember from last week, comes from the Latin word salarium, which also means salary and has the root sal or salt. So again, when it's time for your salary, its root word comes from salt at a time when salt was even used as money. So, pretty interesting little story right there. And around the 8th century, Japan introduced various social systems from China, the Tang Dynasty, in order to build a centralized government based on the Ritsurial Code. The Ritsurial Code based government, while actively assimilating social systems and culture from China, minted the Wado Kaichin coin in 708, which was modeled after the Kai Wan Tong Bao coin of the Tang Dynasty. The mintage was regarded as an essential tool for the Japanese government to display the independence and the authority of the nation, both inside and outside of the country. So that's pretty interesting. The mintage was regarded as an essential tool for the Japanese government to display the independence and the authority of the nation, both inside and outside of the country. And I say it's pretty interesting because when a country had its own sovereign money, as this just says right here, where it displays the independence and authority of a nation, uh, this is what countries strive to do. But today, we seem to be going back to it looks like we're going to go back to a currency where um, they're looking at this sort of a one type of a universal currency. And in that, do you regain your, or do you keep your sovereignty? Do you keep your authority if your money is really spread out across so many different countries? So I find it interesting that back then you wanted your sovereignty, but today it seems like that money is almost kind of lessening a country's sovereignty. But we'll see how all of this folds out. So that's pretty interesting. So let me ask you this: if the nations of the world got together and gave us universal, let's just say, units, can they do this by simply revaluing things, or would you need to wipe the board clean and reset the game? And that's an important question. I mean, is it possible to just simply revalue things, or do you need to wipe the board clean and start over? So I'm curious to see what you folks will say there. So let me just take a quick look at some of the comments here and keep in touch with what's going on. Okay, let me just take a quick look. Uh, yeah, 17th century. So okay, let's see what else is out here. Okay, I guess yeah, you folks are doing all right. All right. I'll just continue driving this bus. Keep your head and arms in the windows and stay seated. So moving on. Now, my point is it's not to scare anyone, but my point is if the board is wiped clean and we start over, let's say, what neutral asset do the major countries and central banks have and hold? The answer is gold. So, do you have gold? Do you have any gold? Do you have that store of value? Because, as I say, we're headed into a new monetary system. We are going to need that store of value to get us from here to there. And it surely looks like one of those assets or those stores of value that you're going to want to hold is gold and is silver as well. So, again, another reason why you want to be holding or having some gold and silver. So even though we just started, I want to take a little bit of a refresher because I found this video that really puts things into perspective here.
Around the Nara time period, people were mainly using rice and fabrics as currency. They used other things too, but rice and fabric were the most popular. Those had problems though. Rice took up a lot of space. It could mold, rodents liked to eat it, and you couldn't store it for long, so you had to spend your rice quickly. Saving piles of rice for retirement wasn't an option. Now, fabric was pretty good, actually, but it could rip and get stained and get eaten by bugs. But the main reasons the Japanese imperial court decided to mint coins was not because of those issues. The nobles and courts wanted to conserve valuable goods instead of having people use them for currency. And also, they wanted money, money, money.
Yes, money, money, money. A gold coin, two kinds of silver coins, and 12 kinds of copper coins were issued by the government during 250 years or so following the mintage of the Wado Kaichin. And these copper coins are referred to as kochosan. Coins had not been minted until the Toyotomi Hideyoshi minted gold coins. Now, remember, there was that thing about Hong Kong. It kind of gave up its minting machinery to Japan, and that kind of helped Japan to start minting its own coins as well. So the coins, but until then, the coins were minted in China and imported from China and then were circulated as money. Pretty interesting here. Placer gold was exported to China in exchange for the coins. Now, why would a nation let another nation or even a corporation mint, make, or create its money? Sound familiar? It should, because that's what countries do. They allow central banks to have the authority to create their own money or to create, yes, their sovereign money, and then they will charge you interest on top of that. So it's a very interesting, and I don't mean interesting in a positive way, but it's an interesting way that governments have chosen to do things. But here's something else interesting on top of just the copper coins being minted in China. Why did Japan have the coins imported? Well, we know because they didn't have the minting equipment or maybe the knowledge to do it, the smelting and things like that. But why did Japan have the coins imported? And this is pretty interesting as well. So we'll go down here and let me make this a little bit larger. Okay, so let me just go down a bit. I'll start from here. So you might wonder what kinds of things were traded between Japan and China. Okay, this is talking about trade right now. The Chinese sent such goods as copper coins, and silk threads to Japan, while Japan exported sulfur, swords, fans, and other objects to China. Now, it might seem strange to us today that Japan would want to import copper coins from a foreign country. But at that time, there was no standard currency minted in Japan. All Japanese coins had to be imported from China. And I want to go a little bit further because this is interesting. Now, one thing about the trade between Japan and China back then, it differs greatly from trade today, that the two countries had an unequal, unequal relationship. Now, the Ming Dynasty rulers thought that China was the center of the universe, the Middle Kingdom. I know quite a few of you are familiar with this, and that all other countries were inferior. So, in order to trade with someone, you have to recognize that the other person has something you want and that you have goods that you are willing to give up in exchange. This means that each side has some degree of power over the other. Even if other countries actually did have things that they wanted, the Chinese rulers at the time refused to recognize that they were worthy trade partners in fear that it would make China look less powerful. So therefore, they viewed traders from other countries as bearers of tribute gifts in recognition of China's superiority. In exchange for this tribute, the Chinese would supply the foreign traders with gifts. And why I want to get to this is because this is interesting, where in order to legitimize this trade system, Chinese created official licenses called Kongo in Japanese for approved tribute ships. There's this word again, tribute ships. So naturally, Japanese trading ships were also given these licenses. So back in the 15th century China, almost everything was handwritten with the brush and ink, and that means that anyone might handwrite a false license. So how do you think the Chinese verified genuine licenses? Actually, the answer to this is a special system still used in Asia today of writing in a registration book with the edge of the license covering half of the writing surface. When the license was removed, only half of each written character remained in the book. So the officials could check the authenticity of any license by placing it next to its corresponding half in the registration book. Only a real license would match exactly using this verification method, and the Chinese were able to determine which of the trade ships were officially approved tribute ships. Interesting. Pretty interesting. What are your thoughts on that? So it's kind of like you gave a, let's say, 12 digit or 12-digit number. You kept six, you hid the other six, and you gave that ship captain or ship owner the other six, the back half six numbers. And so when he would come back into port, he shows you those six numbers, and then you would have to go and check your book and say, hey, okay, well, this does match the full, the full 12-digit code or whatever it is. So pretty interesting that they would even think of that back then. But again, different time, different era. Japan wasn't making its own money, and it was having its money imported. So nothing nothing different from what we see today. So moving on, around 1587, various coins were minted, which were composed of gold and silver, such as the Tensho Naga Oban. But the common people, you and me, we used the coins imported from China and Bizasen. Okay, so we were common people. We had to use a different type of coin. Moving into the 1600s, the monetary system was established by Tokugawa Ieyasu. Tokugawa Ieyasu established Kinsa gold mints and Ginza silver mints to manufacture gold and silver coins. Okay, so this is about the time where I guess they got those minting equipment from Hong Kong. So shortly after, copper mints were established by the government. So here comes the government starting to moving on the action, right? So coin debasement then took place, and the currency system was largely damaged by degradation of the finest of coins. Okay, coin debasement took place. Would we expect anything else? Government got involved. Coin debasement took place. So here we had four types of coins. First one looks pretty nice. Old bond looks pretty goldish to me. Then you had Koban, which is starting to look red, which could symbolize there's some copper or even brass, where the gold is starting to get less. And then it just kind of turns black already. Kanai Suho and the Chogin. They don't even resemble anything close to gold already at that point. So amazing. Here we go again. All right. So paper money was issued in 1868. In 1871, Japan Mint was established, and the gold standard was adopted, where 1 yen was equal to 1.5 grams of gold. Then a coin law was enacted, where we saw 1 yen now equaling just 0.75 grams of gold. Now, if my math is good, half the gold was removed, coin debasement. And in 1932, the gold standard abandoned. All of it gone. 1932, key date. Why? Because just 1 year later, in 1933, even the US expropriated citizens' gold. So it's kind of amazing how all of these things just kind of unfold and happen one after another. So even in Japan, we had coin or money debasement and eventually going off the gold standard. It happened there. It happened in the US. It happened pretty much everywhere in the world. So I find it amazing how there truly is nothing new under the sun. So I want to play another clip about Japan and their monetary history.
Copper coins had a much longer run. This was when the court was moving the capital from Fujiwara to Nara. Copper coins funded the massive project. The government put them into circulation by paying the construction workers with copper coins. They also started paying in coin to government officials and workers on other projects. Now, when you launch a new currency, you want it to circulate. People hoarding coins kept them out of circulation. It turned out hoarders were a big problem because we found a government order condemning people who hoarded coins, demanding that they return the coins to the government. To help with this problem, the courts allowed people to exchange coins for court ranks, basically buying government positions. So things haven't really changed.
Yeah, things haven't really changed. So that was the past and up to the present. I mean, we haven't seen this in the US right now, right? It happens all throughout history. Same thing over and over and over again. So what I'm going to do now is take you from the present and into the future or futures, and you'll understand why I'm going to say that, why I said futures. But this clip, I got to tell you, it's going to be very, very thought provoking on how you see things going on in the world today.
Between 735 and 737, a smallpox epidemic hit Japan, killing 1/4 to 1/3 of the population. Such a deadly plague deserves more discussion, but since we're just talking economics at the moment, we'll just ignore all the death, destruction, and suffering. The sudden drop in workers caused havoc in the supply chain and resulted in temporary shortages of food and goods, driving up prices and inflation. That was only temporary, though. In the wake of the smallpox epidemic, after the initial shortages, things were pretty good, economically. A bunch of people were still dead, which was a good thing, economically. You see, being dead meant you didn't need to buy things, and there were a lot of dead people who didn't buy things. It drove down the demand for goods, allowing the high inflation to subside. But then the courts ran into another problem. Having so many taxpayers die really hurt tax revenue. They tried to counter this in a few ways. They started offering government loans, which helped, but wasn't enough. Then, in 760, they minted another copper coin at a higher value. Unfortunately, in an attempt to reap the prolific profits of the past, they made this coin 10 times the value of the previous one. Inflation again skyrocketed and didn't stop. Over the next 2 centuries, they kept minting different coins at higher and higher values. The coins kept getting smaller and contained lesser amounts of copper. It was a mess. In the 900s, the courts finally said, "We give up," and stopped the coinage effort. The government began paying in commodities again, like rice. There were other factors that led to this, of course, but the mess they had with coins was a big factor. And so, the great Nara money experiment failed. Japan didn't use coins again until much later. Now, just because they had to stop making coins doesn't mean the whole endeavor was a waste. In fact, it was extremely profitable for the aristocracy in the Nara period. It swelled the imperial courts' wealth and funded many government projects, including the Nara capital itself. So if you look at it from the perspective of the people at the top, the whole thing turned out pretty well.
Okay, for the people at the top. Inflation was squashed with people dying, according to that clip there. Let's hope this isn't even a consideration should the world see runaway inflation. I mean, I got to tell you, this really it disturbed me pretty much because what we saw in Japan that was a micro view of kind of what we see going on today. I mean, the Fed keeps saying inflation is transitory, and with the epidemic that Japan faced, losing a quarter of the population, that helped make the inflation transitory for Japan as well. So this one, got to tell you, it for guys who have a very very broad mind. I mean, you gotta kind of wonder what's going on there. But anyway, let's just hope for the best. Let's try and think that people have the best intentions for all of us. But if not, get some silver and gold. Don't forget to do that. Moving forward, it's pretty interesting that so much of Japan's financial and economic history mirrors multiple times what's going on today. And many guests in past interviews have even said or even used the word Japanification. Okay, so we can Japan's interesting, with what's going on through its history and where we are today. So let's go into the futures by looking at Japan's past. So as we saw, rice was a currency that was used by the Japanese. And the rice trader from the past is helping analysts make predictions or probabilities of the future. And this is what I mean. Now, a lot of you may not have known this. Okay. The history of Japanese candlestick analysis. I'm sure a lot of you have seen these on charts, red candles, green candles, or black and white, whatever they may be called. So if you're trading or thinking of getting into trading, technical analysis or TA is a very important part of the process. Now, without looking into technical analysis and understanding TA, it would be very difficult to be profitable in your trading sessions. TA or technical analysis is made up, let's just come here. It's made up of a whole load of tools, including analyzing charts of the movement of price of a given stock over a period of time. And using these charts to predict the future price of that stock is what technical analysis is all about. And there are various methods of representing the price and time data on these charts, such as lines, bars, etc. But a new method called the candlestick charting, which we pretty much are all familiar with, is based on a Japanese system which was brought to the West in 1900 by Charles Dow. Over 150 years ago, a Japanese rice trader named Hama Munehisa is created to have come up with a system of charting that used candlesticks given an overview of open, high, low, and close market prices of rice over a certain period. Until about 1710, only physical rice was traded. But then a futures market emerged where sounds familiar, coupons promising delivery of rice at a future time began to be issued. From this, a secondary market of coupon trading emerged in which Munehisa flourished. Stories claim that he established a personal network of men about every 6 kilometers between Sakata and Osaka, a distance of about some 600 kilometers, to communicate market prices. To communicate market prices. So I guess even back then, that was their form of high frequency trading. You go ahead and spread out some guys along the way, and they will relay what's happening with the rice market, I guess. So again, nothing new under the sun. It was physical rice, and then it turned to coupons to be delivered at a future date. Nothing new under the sun. But let's take a quick look at that. Japanese candlesticks are still used today, and these candlesticks, depending on their shape, they even have names. Doji can in Japanese mean blunder. For technical analysts not paying attention to doji candlesticks, which may be signifying a reversal, will indeed mean someone made a blunder. So as you can see here, there are three sticks, a green, a black, and a red. And what these doji candlesticks pretty much signify is that depending on the situation, a reversal, a trend reversal may be on the way. So this is on one of the important candlestick formations that analysts will take a look at. Doji, Japanese word meaning blunder. So pay attention to those. And harami. Harami is the type of Japanese candlestick pattern represented by two bodies. The first of them larger with a black or red body, and the second one white or green, and it's going to be smaller. And within that the body of the candle on the left, or the candlestick on the left. So its name derives from the Japanese word that means pregnant, because the graphic that shows resembles sort of like a pregnant woman. And you have two types. You have a bullish harami and you have a bearish harami. And again, these they can they can be signifying that a reversal is about to happen. So again, you want to see a larger candle to the left and a little bit smaller candle to the right, and that smaller candle to the right should fit entirely in the body of the candle to the left. So doji and harami. So two words that stick with us today. So I've been talking quite a bit and I haven't had a chance to show you any Japanese silver or Japanese gold, and I don't have any. So I need to get some. But I did find a guy who was able to show some. I think you folks will know him. He's from High Hole Silver. So I'll go ahead and roll a clip from his YouTube channel where he goes ahead and shows you some of the coins and bars from that time.
Konnichiwa, everybody. Hi Ho Silver here. Well, I was digging around in the basement, and since I have a new Japanese friend, I thought I'd pull these two pieces out, and perhaps he or somebody else maybe could help educate me. I really don't know that much about them. The one on the left is the older of the two, and I'm pretty sure those dates are right. The Tenpo era, the Ichibu Jin silver, it says there, 1830 to 1844. And the one on the right, Ishu Jin, it says the Meiji era. I don't think those dates are right though. Anyway, let's take a look at this one here first. Very cool, man. Most of these that you see are kind of shiny like this. The other one I have is toned, but I'm not even sure this isn't upside down. Either way, let's take a look at it. I love the detail. Pretty cool, man. They both of these are kind of in that transition period from when silver was used in the kind of Chinese style as bullion, and then it kind of transitioned into silver being used as coinage. And these, I believe, were actually used as coinage. You can see here on the edge, kind of an interesting texture. I'm not sure. These were done in sheets probably and then cut into pieces like that. You can see the difference in the sizes there. This one is the newer of the two, and I'm pretty sure it's the last of the era before the modern Japanese coinage began. This one's really nicely toned, also very cool. They are both genuine. I got them from a reputable dealer a couple years ago. Very nice. If you know about these things and could link me to something, I would appreciate that. I've been searching around. I didn't, when I first got them, I didn't really take care of my business to really understand what they were, and I had, to be honest, forgotten about them until I just sent a package of things to Japan. So there they are, dudes, some Japanese silver ingots. I think they're about 88% silver. I've seen higher, but again, looking for good info on them. They're both cool. I got those in my kind of historical pile. I'll share a couple more of those things later this week, probably. Hope you enjoyed that, dudes. Take care. See you again.
Okay, those are some pretty interesting looking coins there, or some silver back from that time era. I'm getting a bug to go and try and find some myself. They look pretty cool. So anyway, I'm glad I was able to share some of the history of Japan, their monetary history, and how it can even lead up to where we are today. And that'll pretty much conclude our topic of the day segment. And we'll head over into commentary. But before I want to do that, I just want to go ahead and take a look at a few of the comments out there. I understand silver is dropping again. Well, it's maybe time to back up that truck again and buy once more. I mean, a lot of us got our our salary at the end of the month, beginning of the month, so maybe it's time to go and pick up some of that silver. Um, yeah, the charts. Some of you talked about Japanese candlesticks, and I never knew the history of that until one day I was talking with Gary Wagner, and you know, he kept saying Japanese candlesticks, and I'm thinking, what is he, what's he talking about? Only because I didn't know the history of that. The charts that we look at were called Japanese candlesticks, and then it finally hit me. Hey, wait a minute, this is the name. This is the name of what we're looking at, what we're using. So I think it's something, it's pretty cool history to know, especially with those types of candle formations, doji, harami, things like that. So moving on, I'll just take a look at a few comments here. Let's see, our nickel supply. You know, from my understanding, when I look at it, we have a few um, very big buyers that'll come in and snatch it up. I mean, as soon as we reorder, it goes out the door. So I would have to say, um, there's money in nickel, and these guys know it, and so they are picking it up, and so good for them. They can see what's going to happen. They can see what's going to happen. And my colleague Vincent, thank you. Hit the like button. Yes, go ahead and hit the like button. And if I get enough likes, I will never show that sumo clip again. If I don't get enough likes, I'm going to show that sumo clip one more time. But just hit the like button. We really do appreciate that. So let me go ahead and get into the commentary portion here. When looking at Japan, there are far too, way too many similarities to even think our leaders are brilliant. Forget it. Giving us something new. They aren't. In fact, I think let me rephrase this. Maybe they are that brilliant because they know that we are asleep. They know we're asleep. They know we're not paying attention. They know we've forgotten what real money is, what sound money is. So I'm going to rephrase that from the original word that I had put there. Maybe they are brilliant in maybe the wrong type of a way. So we have to wake up, and we have to help people understand, and we have to explain to people, and at times, we may look a little bit, wacko to them, but um like I say, we need to be that blessing and not a burden. And time will tell as time unfolds. And, they do, our leaders, they do the same things over and over and over again and expect a different result. And that is the definition of insanity. I do think you have some people who are trying to do things to make things right. And of course, you have some people who absolutely know what's going on that are in power, and they are, trying to put as many things as they can into their corner. So, when let me move on. When we saw how Japan, they did try gold and silver, and they failed. They debased. They failed. They tried again and failed again, ultimately leaving the gold standard again. This was because of debasement. We saw how it was supposed to be 1.5 grams of gold, I believe, 1 yen. And then it went down to 0.75 grams of gold. And then eventually gold standard was gone. They left the gold standard. Other countries have done the same. But when I see this, I don't see failure. I don't see failure. I see gold as being what we come back to time and time again to right our money wrongs. The failure was not with gold, not at all, because I mean, I'll just say it's what we kept coming back to start all over again. We'd come back to gold. With all the wrongs going on with central banks and governments today, it's just a matter of time before these current wrongs are going to have to be made right once again. And for that reason, I do see gold, I do see silver. Again, even if they do try to bring about a new monetary system, that is going to mean the old monetary system has to die for a new monetary system to begin. And it's that transition is why you want to be having gold and silver, why you want to hold gold and silver, why you may even want gold and silver out of your own jurisdiction because you just have no confidence in the government, in the jurisdiction that you live in. So, again, numerous reasons, numerous options that we need to have. So, just remember, by the way, now, central banks have once again stepped up their gold purchases, and that means we had better do the same, be it gold, be it silver. You need to be your own bank. You're going to have to be your own bank. Don't do what they say, do what they do. And that's going to end the commentary segment. I'll take a look at some of the comments here before we head out. Um, Yeah, history is repeating. People in government cannot help spending and spending, destroying the currency and purchasing power of currency holders. That being you and me. Recognize this pattern. Protect it. Protect yourself. Protect with gold and silver. Again, an option. In fact, this isn't even an option. This is straight up mandatory at this point. It's not financial advice, professional or otherwise. I'm just saying what I do because of the way I see the future. And it's not even that. History repeats itself. History keeps repeating itself. People keep doing the same things over and over. So again, definitely do consider gold, consider silver. A lot of you folks may be new to it, trying to understand why guys are buying gold and silver. Well, here you go. And again, look at the comments because what you say out there in your comments means more or can help a person who's on the fence more than anything that I could say. It's your comments that are going to help people. And again, falls in line with let's be that blessing and not a burden because we see what's coming. There's going to be a lot of burdens out there. Okay, so a few more comments out there that I'll take a look at. Um, Casey Willis, governments are operated like money laundering operations, organized crime. And the funny thing about governments right now, you see Treasury Secretary Yellen, even in Europe, central bank leaders, governments, where they are demonizing cryptocurrencies, trying to tell you all the bad things about cryptocurrencies. And, one can only imagine, again, this is setting the narrative for when, they come in with their central bank digital currencies or trying to get the populace to not like cryptocurrencies. And, it's, we got to see through it all, guys. I mean, the news is not what it was when we were growing up. It's not the same deal anymore. The news is narratives. It's not unbiased anymore. So we have to go and find out what's true on our own. So great point, Patrick Bateman. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Thumbs up would be awesome as well. Penny pinching prepper. Show the sumo clip again. Oh, show them. Yeah, why not? Here you go.
Okay. Locked up. Charles pivot gets him to the edge and wins by you. And Hakuho still lead.
Yep, that guy. He definitely looks familiar. Man, I gotta get out of here. This is not good. Hope my wife didn't see this. Anyway, I appreciate you all for being here. The comments were great. Again, to you guys, what can I say? I love you all out there. Appreciate you being here. Do what you need to do. Protect yourself, your family, especially besides physically and things like that, financially. Because if things happen and you are unfortunately wiped out in some way, um, it's going to be a very very tough road ahead. So look into alternative forms of stores of value. Look into again gold and silver. It's critically important. So again, having said that, I appreciate each and every one of you being here, and I'll see you guys next week. Always remember, saddle up and silver up for what's coming ahead. And if you feel like it, go ahead and sumo up as well. I'll see you guys next week. Take care.